So I said I wanted to do a video talking about how the WWE audience or the professional wrestling audience has changed over the last few years, and it's kind of hard to describe how they've changed because unless you're a wrestling fan or have been a fan for the last 20 years like I have, you're really not going to get it. But I'm going to try to put it in perspective here. Back during the 70s and 80s, only a select few realized that the business was fake. Everybody thought it was real. And then, of course, we know Vince McMahon comes out and tells everybody it's not. It's a show. So now everybody knows that it's fake. My son, my 5-year-old son, or my 6-year-old son, knows that wrestling is fake. I had to finally break down and tell him wrestling was fake. Why? Because I tried desperately to keep the illusion alive that it was real to him. I kayfabed him. I did not want him to know that wrestling was fake because I was like, I wouldn't have wanted somebody to come up to me at 6 years old and tell me it was totally fake. Sorry. It's letting the cat out of the bag. It's like telling, Santa Claus, the Tooth Fairy, the Easter Bunny, all that wrestling kind of goes with that. So I finally had to break down and tell him it was fake because incidents were happening at the school with other kids. So I finally had to tell him, son, it's fake. They're not really, they're hitting each other, but they're not really hitting each other. They know how to make it to where it doesn't hurt. That's finally what I had to break down and tell him. So he gets it now. He knows what's going to happen. He knows, hey, when somebody's talking in the ring on Monday night at the beginning of the show, somebody's going to come out and interrupt him. And he picked that up on his own, actually. I really didn't have to tell him that. He's smart enough to know, hey, such and such is going to lose this match. Such and such is going to win this match. And this is the direction that they're going. But the way the fans have acted, and the way that we're seeing this quote-unquote strong style movement now, and we're in the golden age, as Mike Johnson, a PW Insider, called it, of independent wrestling, where fans want that hard-hitting style. They want it to look like a sport again. They're willing to suspend their disbelief and say, give us good matches, give us good wrestling, and we'll play along with you. But that's also kind of, in my opinion, killing things because now we have more injuries. Look at all the injuries that people have done, and people are going to be like, well, Joe, they just have to work smart. There is no way of working smart when it comes to kicking the shit out of somebody. Sorry, you can't fake that. You could smack your leg to make a little sound all you want to, but you're still laying it in there. The fans have evolved over the years, and Vince McMahon is still behind the times. Vince McMahon knows, what's happening. He's not immune to it, guys. People are always saying, well, unless Vince McMahon's inner circle makes him aware of something, he doesn't know it. Vince lives in a bubble. I don't think that's the case. I really don't think it's the case. I think Vince is just old and stuck in his ways and just does not want to, he's going to make money either way, so why bother? He's sitting back and collecting. Which is, Vince McMahon, for all his flaws and for what everybody says about him, Vincent Kennedy McMahon deserves to be in the twilight of his quote-unquote career and deserves to sit back and collect and not give a shit about what anybody thinks about it, including the fans. Because people like me are going to show up week after week because we love the business. We love the professional wrestling business. We like to follow the professional wrestling business. Just like anybody who's a football fan, if I'm an Atlanta Braves fan, which I am, we haven't won a World Series since '96. So, but I'm still a fan. You still follow your team throughout the rotten years. So, it's to me, that's where it's just like any other thing that you follow, whether it be sports or movies. I mean, look at what, or comic books, those who read comic books. Golly, the late 80s, early 90s, mid 2000s, we're just now seeing another age of comic book movies coming up and comic books themselves becoming popular again. But you still read those comics even when they weren't popular, and you still went to that store every week and pulled those comic books off those shelves and read them, even though that it was not the cool thing to do. So they pretty much backed themselves into a corner now where They need another revolution. They need something else to go ahead and jumpstart it. As Vince McMahon always used to say, it's time to shake things up, and it's time to adapt to your audience, your new audience that does not want to see. I don't think when somebody says stop being PG, it doesn't mean that they want you to necessarily be TV-14 again. Because if we went back to the Attitude Era, you're still going to sit there and go, well, it's the same old shit. It's the same crap. You know, you're still going to go, it's just like what they used to do. Just like when they bring back stars from the Attitude, like The Rock and, you know, Stone Cold Steve Austin and everybody else, people are going, oh God, they're going back to the well, they're bringing it back. No. What the new fan wants, what the current generation of fans want, and the way we've evolved is, we want you to build new stars. And we don't want you to build new stars by the way of Roman Reigns, by shoving them down our throats. We want you to build new stars by picking out the good from the bad. And by giving us good shit that we want to see, like Dean Ambrose. Like, you know, Nakamura's coming up. I mean, golly, Samoa Joe, Sami Zayn. We like good technical wrestling. And then we also like people like the Beer City Bruiser. Just going to go out there and kick ass. We like a mix. It's kind of like what ECW did back in the day. They gave you the garbage and then they gave you the good shit to go with it, the icing on the cake, so to speak. We like that. We don't want you to we want you to just listen to us. Let us guide you. Let us give you your money. You know, let us give you our money. We're willing to spend the money on it if you give us what you want. And don't sit there and go, well, I know what they want better than they do. No, you don't. If you knew that, I mean, if you knew that, golly, your ratings would be sky high right now. Because we'd be like, fuck, well, Vince has the answer. What does Vince have up his sleeve this week? We wouldn't be sitting there every Monday night. You know, I'm sorry, but for the last month or for the last 2 or 3 months, if I don't like what I'm seeing within the first hour of Raw, I turn the TV off and go to bed because I got to get up for work for the next morning. You know, it's just gotten that way. So I think it all boils down to the night after WrestleMania. I really think that you need an overhaul of that company. Is a brand split the way to go? That has its negatives and its positives. The negatives is that, you know, if they do it right, it would be good, but they didn't do it right. If you go back to that brand split, the first 3 months of that brand split were good. Hell, even the first year of that brand split was good. Even after they split the titles, it was good. We didn't necessarily want them to just hand the title to Triple H. A tournament would have been nice or something to give it to Triple H, but still. It's good in the fact that you keep one domestic and one overseas, which they do that now anyway. It's going to give people like Samoa Joe and Finn Balor and Kevin Owens and everybody else a chance to really main event. Because let's face it, right now, if they bring Samoa Joe up or a Finn Balor up, it's going to be like just like any other NXT star has been. They're going to get swallowed up by people, and Vince just doesn't give a damn about them. It's been proven. I've been saying it for about a year now on this channel and on New Search Live podcast that I did over at 1640. I've said it, you know, even on, you know, other people's shows. From the moment, and it started with Bo Dallas and went from Bo Dallas to Adam Rose to the Ascension to, you know, everybody that's come along from NXT has gotten squashed since they launched the network. I will tell you that. Seth Rollins is probably the last one to, you know, the Shield are the last ones to come up from NXT who they've stuck with and given a damn about. Everybody that came up after them, no. You know, Big E may be another. Big E and Xavier Woods may be, you know, the two exceptions. But they're in a group. If they weren't in a group and if they were in singles matches every week and you know, if they weren't together, they wouldn't be there. So let's just face it. I'll call a spade a spade. If they were not a part of the New Day, if they had, you know, chosen 2 other people to pair with Kofi Kingston, they wouldn't be. They would be squashed too or fired. Sorry, but I fully accept or fully expect that sometime this year, Bo Dallas and everybody else Sorry about that. My computer decided that it wanted to fall asleep. But I mean, I expect that at least some of those guys who have come up from NXT over the last 2 or 3 years, like Bo Dallas, the Ascension. Golly, if the Ascension make it this year within WWE without losing their jobs being released, I'd be shocked. If Bo Dallas did that, I'd be shocked. If people like Adam Rose, if Adam Rose still has a job by the end of this year with WWE, I'll be shocked. It's weird how that's the pinnacle. That's where everybody wants to be. Right now, that's not WWE Raw where they want to be. It's NXT where everybody else wants to be now. If I'm somebody, and I've said this before too, it's going to sound like a broken record, but there's a reason why Finn Balor seems like a smart guy to me. And there's a reason why he doesn't want to get moved up right now. There's a reason why he wants to continue to be the anchor of that brand right now. And it's because he knows if he moves up, they're gonna hype him up for just a few months, kind of like they did with Kevin Owens, give him a couple big wins, and then it's right back down to the mid-card or lower mid-card, doing matches on Superstars and Main Event. And on SmackDown. But there's a big reason why that happens, and it's Vince. Vince not wanting to... Vince McMahon's eyes, if he didn't create it, it didn't happen. And right now, Triple H is responsible for creating all that's going on in NXT, not Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon's given him the ball, and Triple H is running it in his own play. Triple H it's kind of like Triple H is called an audible from the way Vince McMahon really does things. And if you don't follow along with the Vince McMahon playbook, it doesn't happen. So he's going to put his own spin on it and squash it. And the fans, like I started off in this video, they've evolved to the point where, we're seeing 104-minute matches on the indie scene, and we're seeing people on the indie scene, liking the more technical style, the more smash mouth, hardcore style. We're bringing in people, from Japan, and everybody now likes Japan, and Japan's the greatest thing ever. And that's the way they've evolved. They like what ECW gave them back in the day, the good wrestling. They don't want Doink the Clown every week. They don't want poopy jokes from Cena every week. We've grown up. The wrestling fan has grown up. It's kind of like, your audience grew up with you, and marketing to kids is pretty much what is killing you right now. Marketing toward kids and marketing toward the younger audience is pretty much what's killing it, because the younger audience doesn't want to see that either. My kid would rather sit down with me and watch NXT or even watch SmackDown, because he knows he's going to see some decent matches on SmackDown, than watch Raw every week. My kid loves NXT. We're going to NXT in Charlotte in April, and he could not be happier. Even my two older stepkids, they don't watch Raw every week with me. They could really give a crap about wrestling, but they do like NXT. My stepdaughter likes Finn Balor. She thinks he's cute and likes to watch him wrestle. That market is there. That's your market. That's your demographic. We grew up wanting Jerry Springer and everything on wrestling, and now we've evolved to where the Springer isn't going to work for us. You got to be serious now. Springer became fake eventually too. So it's hard. Like I said, I know I sound like I'm rambling on, but it's hard to describe really how we've evolved. But the point is that we have evolved, and we don't want the same old crap every week. We like this golden age of indie wrestling. Like I said, in North Carolina, I live right on the North Carolina-Virginia border, and to see good wrestling, I have to go down to North Carolina. The closest indie event for me is about 30 to 45 minutes away. The crazy part about that is that, that's just going to see CWF Mid-Atlantic. If I want to go other places, it's 2 or 3 hours away. But my point is that in North Carolina alone, there's about, I think I counted on 1 week on Phil Stamper's list that he does for upcoming indie events, which From the Desk of Nate Stein is on Facebook. If you go to Facebook and search From the Desk of Nate Stein, that's where he puts all his goings on in the indie world there. He posts a list every week. He's thinking about quitting doing it, which I hope he doesn't because it helps me find indie events. But I think I went on that list one week and counted at least 10 indie events happening within a 45 to 50 mile radius of each other in North Carolina. It was crazy. Like I said, in North Carolina, all you need is a ring, a building, and a couple of guys willing to bust their ass and maybe get a little bit of a payday. There are no commissions. But anyway, let me know how you think the wrestling fan base has evolved. Let me know what you think the evolution has been and what we want now. Let me know if you think, more importantly, if the night after Mania, do you think WWE needs do you think WWE hits the reset button and gives us a much needed reset button? I complain all the time about TNA hitting the reset button, which it seems like their reset button is on, an autopilot right now where every 4 to 5 months it just pushes itself. But there are times where the business needs a reset, and this is one of them. WWE needs a reset button pushed right now. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Let me know what you think they're going to do the night after Mania. Are we going to get that brand split here in the future? Kevin Owens wants it because Kevin Owens knows he'll be featured. But let me know what you think in the comments below. WrestleMania season is here. There's a lot of other things going on, movies that I'm looking forward to. Batman vs. Superman is about 2 weeks away. Kind of on the fence about that movie. After that, you got Civil War coming out, Captain America. There's a whole bunch of other stuff coming out this year that I'm really looking forward to. Video game-wise, the main thing that's concerning me right now, video game-wise, is the Nintendo NX, which I may do a video about video games and the Nintendo NX here in the future. They did a Nintendo Direct the other day, and no mention of Zelda Wii U was announced. There have been, ever since Twilight Princess, or Skyward Sword, I should say, ever since Skyward Sword, they've gotten into a habit of, let's do the remakes. Let's remake the old stuff while we work on the new. The problem is that they can't get their crap together on the new. And now they're going to end up doing what they did with Twilight Princess on the NX, where it's going to come out for the Wii U and the NX at the same time, and there'll be different features for both. And it pisses me off because my Wii U, I just bought my Wii U about a year ago, and now all of a sudden here next year I'm going to have to go buy an NX. It's crazy. I don't know why they can't get their crap together at Nintendo, but that's another video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, leave your comments below, like and subscribe. Maybe a new Searchlight podcast coming up soon. I've sent some feelers out about that. Hopefully those feelers come to an agreement and get some sense into there. There's a lot of things going on. I kind of want to go quote unquote back home. I did have a home there last year, and as far as the podcast goes, and I want to get back to that. I really enjoyed it. I liked doing what I did over there at 1640. I ain't gonna lie. There's still no ill will there. There's a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff that fans aren't privy to, but I hold no ill will. I don't hold grudges. I'm hoping that certain people don't either, and hopefully we can do what's best for business, if it even is a business. To me, it's more of a hobby that I could possibly make money at, but that's a video for another time. I just hope that people over there at 1640 would welcome me back with open arms after everything that happened over there, which part of it was my fault. I'm not willing to sit there and admit that there as I've said from day one, there's no halo over my head, but I know how the founder of the group is. And I hope that we can put things behind us and no grudges will be held. I have sent some feelers out there about it. I want there to be a relationship there again. I miss being on that network, I'm not going to lie. But It's up to one person whether I go back there, and you all know who that person is. And if you want to get on Facebook and Twitter and tell that person that you want New Surge Live back a part of that network, I would greatly appreciate it, because he pays attention to you guys and knows what you guys want, hopefully, unlike Vince McMahon. But you guys know who the leader of that network is, and there's been a rumor of hashtag hire Joe White going around the internet here. But again, that's for another video at another time. This is Joe White. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you down the road.